can something so good be so bad? By the way, I'm drunk. I hate that I don't love this book. It's a good plot, the characters are good, it's interesting, it's well written, but they have huge problems that you just can't ignore. But I found out why these good books are bad and how to solve it. It's actually quite simple, and you will see that it makes sense. No one also makes sense. Stop messaging me, I'm drunk. Gravando. I regret nothing. I feel like I don't need to explain A Court of Thorns and Roses, which I'm gonna call ACOTAR, not only because it's easier to say, but it's also because it's fun to say. Say it 5 times fast. ACOTAR, 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 ACOTAR. Was that 5? I should have been drinking water for a minute. Anyway, it's almost general knowledge that the second book is way better than the first. And honestly, as a Throne of Glass fan, I was disappointed with the first book. It felt like the second draft taste on my mouth. For the ones who are not very familiar with the writing process, the book that you read is not the first book that is written. Okay. I'm really hoping you understand. Right, first you write, get the story out of your head. That's the first draft. The second draft is where you like catch errors, where you sort of decide where the things are going. The third draft is where you fix these things and you fix all the blank spots, blank spaces, blanks. And it goes on and on until you decide you're satisfied or somebody tells you to stop. It's sort of like sex. ACOTAR tastes like a second draft. You can see that it has something there, but at the time there's some loose ends. That's the thing that I was trying to find, not blank spaces, loose ends. There are some loose ends and something that just don't work out and don't make sense. What I think is that they were needing something to sell while the Throne of Glass books were still being written. I think that's what's going on. Was 2 at a time, right? Well, Sarah's just oof. The Cruel Prince has a similar problem, but not as bad. The plot delivers right in the first book. It's different, it's new, it's exciting. I've never read such an interesting protagonist as Jude. But the biggest problem of the Cruel Prince is pretty common in the fantasy genre. I was treating you poorly because I actually have feelings for you and I didn't know how to process it, so I was like a piece of shit. It's just a wrong message. People will think, and usually girls think, that hey, if a guy is treating me badly, it's because they have like unsorted feelings for me and they don't know how to say it. And the guys reading it, or usually the guys, we're gender neutral, all gender positive here, everybody. I'll try to say them, but it's hard being drunk and non-native English speaker. The guys would think, hey, I don't know how to process feelings because society tells me that I shouldn't have feelings at all, so I'm gonna be a dick to that girl because she won't understand, right? They'll think he's just misunderstood. No, he's a dick. Save yourself, run away. And that was the major problem of The Cruel Prince. Even though I kind of saw it coming when I saw the title, I was kind of hoping to be wrong. I thought I was going to see a couple against the prince, the villain, against the world, and instead I just saw a very strong protagonist turn into a blob because of the guy. I need repellent. The mosquitoes are making so much love to my legs. Okay, but why I put repellent on my legs? Well, I did kill the mosquito. Why am I talking about ACOTAR and the Cruel Prince together? Shouldn't they be a separate video for each? The solution for both books is pretty much the same. They have the wrong protagonists. Because the story they have asks for different protagonist arcs. And I'm going to write in lingo again. The protagonist or any character's arc is like the journey, self-journey. You can see that they've been through some things, and reading a lot and writing a lot, I'm able to identify three main protagonist arcs. First one is the growth arc. We usually see that in Percy Jackson or Harry Potter. The character gets thrown into a universe, they have to learn, they have some self-discovery moments until these self-discovery moments helps them with the main plot. The second one is the victory arc. We can see it in Divergent and Lord of the Ring. They have a quest, they have an objective, they have a goal. A journey to destroy a ring, a place in Dauntless. The main character is after something. Yes, they can grow on the journey, but that's not the main thing they're looking for. The third one, survive. You can see in Hunger Games or any war-themed story, to be honest. The character has no choice but to survive. I thought first that this was like a subsection of the victory arc, because like they're after something to survive, but because it can start with survival and then become growth, but also start with survival and then become victory, get its own category. Yeah, sometimes you can find them all together, but one will always stand out to the protagonist. ACOTAR needed a protagonist with a victory arc. The main goal, to leave Spring Court. I hope that's the name in English. But Farah is a growth arc. She's used to this type of living, and then she gets thrown into something that she's not familiar with. She needs to learn how to deal with it, and then she grows, and then she turns into something in the second book. But we needed a character that she became in the second book in the first one. ACOTAR needed someone who would bring hell to that house to leave Spring Court. That's why the first book is boring. It's boring because she's still learning, but the plot has depth enough, so a victory arc would be more appropriate. The Crow Prince is the opposite. Jude has a victory arc. You can, and I don't know if you felt that, but I always felt like she was always after something. Actually, she's after something right at the beginning, become a knight, but don't you feel like she's always trying something? If it's revenge, if it's get back at something, she's always after a goal, but she never says the goal is. So it's like a promise unfulfilled. Can you imagine I don't know, a chef going, I'm gonna make the best recipe in the world. Okay, what's the recipe? It's gonna taste so good, everybody will cry. Okay, but it's like sweet, sour, or pastry. Everyone will have to accept my recipe as the best. Okay, but what the hell is it? That's what I feel like the Crow Prince is for me. That's because the Crow Prince needs a growth character arc. Yes, she growing up in like Fae, hidden land, Jude did learn how things work and etc. But everything that comes up to her is new. Like the victory arcs like Harry Potter and Percy Jackson and stuff, like learning how to be a spy, learning how to deal with all the treasons in court. All this is new and she needs to learn from it. But Jude is already a huge, strong protagonist, so I feel like she's lost in the plot. The solution is very simple. Farah and Jude should trade places and dangers. That's important. And we need to eliminate the toxic part of the Crow Prince. That's a must. So we get the right protagonist for each story. A strong protagonist that makes ACOTAR actually interesting. And the Crow Prince plot gets to break a character so that she builds up again, powerful, strong, and so badass. I mean, do you really think Jude would like stay put, be in prison? She would raise hell on that shit. She would challenge everybody to a sword fight and she would fucking win. Don't you think Farah has all the skills to be a master manipulator and a spy in the first place? I mean, my fanfic brain gets all kinds of tease, and that's the next week's video. Is the second part of this video with exercising our little brains, and we're gonna like try to think what would happen if they actually switched places. So it's gonna be fun. I hope I'm sober by then, or not. Being drunk is fun. Any thoughts? Love to hear them. Sober. See you next time. Ooh. I had to turn off the phone ring. But I look so good. I want to keep seeing my face.